Hello. So today we'll continue with the discussion on bearings and friction in bearings. So this will be your 16th class. Okay, we have already discussed about the friction in journal bearings in the previous class. So in this class we will discuss about friction in pivot bearings and in collar bearings. Okay, and the different cases. I will only show the derivation in one case and not in all the cases in friction and collar bearings. I will say the formula how to calculate the friction in different types of bearings. Okay, that will be also important in for your competitive exams. Now starting with the basic concept that the shaft you see, they are frequently subjected to thrust, to axial thrust. Okay, you can see that in the case of that axles in trucks, buses, and other types of vehicles. Now this can be said to be a shaft. Okay, and this bearings, the bearing surfaces. Okay, this example the pivot and the collar bearings, which I am going to discuss today, and they absorb this thrust. Okay, they take care of this thrust of the shaft. Okay, so this is the basic usage of a bearing surface. Now these bearing surfaces are used in different areas, like in ships, in propeller shafts of ships, in turbines, in shafts in case of steam turbines, and also in machines where the shafts are vertical. Okay, which carry an axial thrust. So these are the different areas where you can use the bearing shafts. Now the bearing surfaces which are placed at the end of a shaft, like this bearing surface over here. Okay, now this takes care of the axial thrust. Now this surface which takes care of this thrust, this surface, so this is known as a pivot. This is known as a pivot. Now there are different types of pivots. Okay, like flat surface. This is a flat surface pivot. Okay, and there are also cases of a conical surface. You can see over here. This is a conical surface pivot. There are also examples of a truncated or trapezoidal surface. Okay, where what happens that at this position it becomes flat, not like a cone. Okay, which I have not shown in the diagrams. We will come to the point in the case of we will discuss the collar bearings later. So this is a flat surface bearing. Now it is a very common fact that when the bearings are new, so there is sufficient amount of contact between the shaft and the bearing over the whole surface when the bearings are very new. Okay, but over time, due to wear and tear, the contact between the shaft and the bearing may not exist fully. So when the bearings are new and there is a full contact, sufficient contact between the shaft and the bearing surface. Okay, so what happens is that the pressure over these rubbing surfaces is uniformly distributed. But when with time, when it wears and tear occurs, that all the parts of the rubbing surface will not move with the same velocity, because the velocity of rubbing surface increases with the distance from the axis of the bearing. So this is the axis of the bearing, you can see, and the velocity increases as the distance increases from this axis. Now as the velocity also varies from the distance from the axis, so the wear and tear that will happen also will not occur uniformly and will vary with the distance, or in other words it will vary with the radius. Okay, at the distance of the radius, the wear and tear will be the maximum, and variation in the wear and tear, it will also cause a variation, and it will also vary. It will also cause variation in the distribution of pressure. Pressure distribution will also not be uniform along the whole length of the radii. Okay, you understood? When we will derive the expression for the friction in bearings, we will take certain assumptions. Okay, now the assumptions is that is very important, that the pressure is uniformly distributed throughout the bearing surfaces. We have already said that the pressure in actual picture, the pressure is not uniform. Okay, the distribution of pressure is not uniform along the length of the radius. Okay, but we will assume that the pressure is uniformly distributed. Pressure is uniformly distributed. And secondly, that wear and tear is uniform throughout the surface, throughout the bearing surface. These are the assumptions. Now we will find the expression of the friction in case of this pivot bearings, flat surface bearing, flat surface pivot bearing. This is flat surface. Okay, I will not show the derivation in all the cases. Okay, I will only show you how to derive the formula, and will simply write the expression. Okay, you can see the derivation in any standard book that is available, in any book. Okay, so you can see from there. I will only say the expressions which will be important from your exam point of view, and I will also share the basic concept about how to derive the expression. Now see this. This is a flat surface bearing, or also it is known as a footstep bearing. Okay. Now this shaft rotates in this bearing. Okay, in this direction. Suppose in any direction it rotates in this manner. Okay. Now there will be a friction along the surface of contact between the shaft and the bearing. There will be a friction between this this surface of contact of the shaft and the bearing. Okay. Now see over here that load transmitted over the bearing surface is W. There will be a load transmitted over the bearing surface is W. Okay, I am not writing these things as there is shortage of time. And R is the radius of the surface, radius of the bearing surface, this one. Okay. R is the intensity of pressure per unit area. Okay, pressure means force per unit area. W by pi r square. W by pi r square. So this will be the intensity of pressure per unit of the surface area of the rubbing surfaces, and mu is the coefficient of friction. I am not writing these things. Okay. Now that there will be two different cases when there will be uniform pressure and when there is uniform wear. Okay, so this uniform pressure thing, this is actually a very ideal case, and this actually does not happen in real life. Okay. Now we are considering this case. The first case is that uniform pressure. Considering uniform pressure. Okay, uniform pressure. So I will only say about the derivation. Okay, it is not possible to show the entire derivation. I think you can do it yourself. Okay, I will just show you how to do that. P is uniform pressure is W by this uniform pressure. So W by the bearing surface is pi r square. Pi r square. Now we will consider an elemental area. Okay, we will consider an elemental area at any area. Suppose this, an uniform elemental area at a distance of say small r. Okay, and it is having a thickness of suppose dr. Now this area of this elemental surface will be, elemental area will be 2 pi r into dr. Now the load transmitted on this ring, on this small elemental area. Okay, load is equal to force. So force is pressure into area. Suppose that is dW. The load is equal to 2 pi r into dr into the pressure, that is P. This P. Okay. Now, the resistance, the frictional resistance, due to the sliding of the ring, sliding of the ring, which actually the frictional force will act in this direction, will act in this direction, frictional force, okay, between the bearing surface and the shaft. Okay, it will also act in this direction. Okay, and this value is mu into force, mu into n. In this case, it will be mu into this dw, mu into dw. Okay, now the value comes out to be mu into p into 2 pi r into dr. Okay, so the frictional torque will be the frictional torque, force into r, tr is equal to fr into small r. We have considered at a distance of r, so fr into r. Now this value comes out to be mu into p 2 pi r square into dr. Now we have to integrate this torque over the whole length of from 0 to big R. So the total frictional torque will be 0 to r into this value, mu into 2 pi p into r square into dr. Okay, and when we will integrate, I am now showing the integration, you can do it yourself. The value comes out to be, I am just writing it directly, 2 by 3 into mu into w into r. So this is the value of the torque for a flat pivot bearing. In the case of this, first that when the pressure is uniform over the surface. Okay, so this integration you can do it yourself, and you remember only this one. This will be important from your exam point of view. Now we will consider this uniform wear. Now in case of this uniform wear, the rate of wear, it depends upon the pressure and the velocity of the rubbing surface. So it depends upon the pressure and velocity of the rubbing surface. Now as you already know that the velocity, it increases with the increase in radius from this increase in r, or the distance from this axis. Okay, and the rate of wear, it's proportional to the product of the pressure, intensity of pressure and the velocity of the rubbing surfaces. So P into V is equal to constant, you can write, but as we know that this V increases with the increase in the value of radius, as increase in the value of r from this center to over here. So you can also write that in place of P, you can write that r. So P into r is equal to constant, you can write that, or C. So P we can write that is equal to C by r. Okay, now we will proceed in the similar way as over here. Okay, we will write that is in place of P we will write C by r, and we will proceed in the similar manner. Okay, so C by r into this area dA, 2 pi r into dr. Okay, and r will cancel out, so it will come to be 2 pi into C into dr. Now we will integrate the value of this load, okay, dw, over the entire length from 0 to r. Okay, so w will come to be, we will integrate from 0 to r, 2 pi c into dr. So this will come to be 2 pi cr. and C will come to be W by 2 pi r. The similar way we will proceed, we will find the torque. Okay, so torque, the value of torque will be, okay, so for finding the torque is equal to Fr into R. Okay, so the value of Fr will be frictional force, mu into N or mu into dW, mu into this value, this 2 pi c into dr, 2 pi c into dr. So mu into 2 pi c into dr into r. Okay, so this will be the torque at radius r, at radius this r. Now when we will integrate this, we will get t. When we will integrate this from 0 to r, we will get t. And that integration you can do yourself. Okay, I am not showing this. I hope you can do that. So when you integrate, the value will come to be half into mu into wr. So this will be the value of torque when considering the uniform wear for a flat pivot bearing. So in case of uniform pressure, it is 2 by 3 into mu wr, and in the case of uniform wear, it will be half into mu wr. You remember this formula? Okay, I hope you can do how to arrive at this derivation. You have understood this. Okay, so this is all about the flat pivot bearing. Now we'll come to the conical pivot bearing. Now see, we will consider this case of conical pivot bearing. Okay, it is very similar to the flat pivot bearing, only difference is that this area you can see, this is conical area. Okay, this area of contact over here, it is conical. Okay, now consider this length as L. Okay, it is as L. Now the pressure intensity of pressure. Now this load is falling over in this, it is W, and this angle of this cone, okay, this is taken as 2 alpha. So half of this angle, this will be alpha. Now you have to consider a small ring of radius r. A small ring of radius r and thickness dr. This distance is dr. So this ring, you can see, this is a distance of, this distance is r, and this is this small radius. Its horizontal length is dr, and the length along the direction, and this length along the this ring, along the length of the ring, it is dl. Okay, it is becoming very dirty over here. This length along the length of this ring, it will be, this total length is L, and this small length will be dl. Now this dl will be dr into cosec alpha. This dl is equal to dr into cosec alpha, and the area of the ring, the small area dA, this small area of the ring, it will be equal to 2 pi r into dl. dl is the length along this angle. Okay, so this will be the elemental area, and we will substitute the value of dl, 2 pi r into dr cosec alpha. This value of dA, this is the variation in the value of dA. This is the only difference between this conical and the flat bearing. Okay, the other things will always remain the same. We will proceed in the same manner as we have done in the previous, in the case of the flat bearing. Okay, now I am only writing the formula. There is no time to do the derivation. So for the uniform pressure, here also there will be two cases, for uniform pressure and for uniform wear. So for uniform pressure, the value of the frictional torque will be, I am only writing the formula, you will do the derivation, and if there is any problem then I will help you. So the value of frictional torque T will be 2/3 into mu WR into cosec alpha. This will be the value of the frictional torque for uniform pressure. I am not showing the derivation, okay. We will proceed in the similar manner as in the previous case. So for uniform wear, the value of torque will be the value of torque will be half into mu T is equal to half into mu WR cosec alpha. So you know the value of all this, the R is this radius, okay, and W is the load, mu is the coefficient of friction, and alpha is this semi angle of this cone. Okay, the derivation will do yourselves. So you remember this formula in case of a conical pivot bearing. Now we will come in the case of these collar bearings. Okay, now what are these collar bearings? They have a flat bearing surface. They have a flat bearing surface or a conical bearing surface. Okay, so mostly the flat surfaces are used and conical surfaces are used only in some special cases. Okay, so this is the collar. This is the collar, okay, and there may be single collar or multiple collars. So this is the case of the multiple collars. Okay, so these are employed in order to reduce the intensity of pressure. These multiple collars are employed to reduce the intensity of pressure. So these are the collar bearings. Okay, we'll discuss this in the next class. In our next class, okay, we close the discussion over here for today. So this is all for today. Thank you.